Hello, you beautiful, wonderful person. Welcome to the floor of my studio, presenting my beautiful art in the background here for your viewing pleasure. I want to talk about something a little different, mostly to address a huge elephant in the room. So for those of you that have been here since day one of this channel starting, I created art tutorials, step-by-step painting tutorials. I would put them out week after week for about 2 to 3 years. And as my channel grew, I started to branch out, try new different things, and I'm not doing art tutorials anymore. I wanted to talk about why. And in the meanwhile, you can also watch me paint this beautiful, colorful flamingo as we're talking about this, because art is just a beautiful process that we can experience together. You feel me? So my channel started back in 2017. I was looking for a different outlet. In my previous life, I was an engineer and didn't find the job very fulfilling. In fact, I felt super drained. I just felt like my creative side really wasn't explored very well. One night, while I was in a very intoxicated state, I was applying for jobs, as one does, and I applied for a job as a paint night instructor. I just thought that would be really cool and interesting to do, despite having not painted or touched a paintbrush in well over 5-6 years. That night came and went. I went back to my engineering job and life just kind of proceeded as always, until 3 months later I got a phone call from the paint night instructor asking me to work for her. So I jumped in on that, and for a while I was juggling 2 jobs at once, engineering at night and doing paint night instruction at night. Despite not having picked up a brush in a very long time, not having painted in a very long time, I was able to kind of pick back up and really start to hone in my skills. The more I painted, the more confident I got, and the more confident I got, the more I was able to help other people paint and kind of navigate through their own painting struggles. And I found fulfillment in that. I thought that was a really fun and interesting aspect of what I could do to help others around me. Being a paint night instructor, the hours were kind of wonky and a little weird, and also it just required a lot of setup and a lot of extra hours that I just did not have that much time for. So I decided, let's start a YouTube channel and kind of see where I can go with that and do painting tutorials and really just start to hone my skills a little bit more and get better at what I do at paint night. But over time, I started seeing that I was really enjoying filming my step-by-step YouTube tutorials, really getting into that painting process and really getting to know all you guys in the process. All the comments were great, really helpful, suggestions on what I should paint next. I really enjoyed that. All I needed to do was set up my camera, show you the brushes, the paints I was using, and just follow along with me to make a beautiful picture at the end. Doing that has opened up an amazing amount of doors for me. I became very confident in my own skill set, in my ability to teach others. I really found fulfillment in that. Doing all this gave me the confidence to leave my engineering job to pursue this full time, and eventually leaving paint night, I just decided to go dive into YouTube full time and go from there. So yeah, within about a year and a half or so, I was able to monetize my channel. By doing that, it kind of gave me even more air under my wings to keep on going with this YouTube thing. And that's where I kind of felt things stagnated a little on my end. There was a few extra years there where I was creating content. I felt like I just was trying to find the next tutorial to teach everybody for free on my YouTube channel, and I was starting to not be interested in the topics. Yes, they would be very helpful for my audience, but the passion and the drive to do all those specific paintings, it was starting to wear on me. Not because I didn't want to help others, but because it just wasn't challenging me enough. And I felt where I was teaching others, mostly beginners, I just felt like I was kind of stuck at a certain level and I couldn't get better because I was still teaching beginner level painting, if that makes any sense. I don't want this to sound like I'm better than anyone else who's starting in the acrylic painting world or in the painting world in general, because, and I encourage this for anyone out there, if you're learning something, sticking with the same thing and the same challenge level constantly and never pushing past that, you're definitely going to run into roadblocks. You're not going to improve and progress and find new different styles and new different things you like to do. Instead, you're just going to stagnate, and eventually, I know for me anyways, you lose interest. What I started to do in my tutorials was I started to branch out a little bit. I started showing my newspaper pop art painting series where I just showed you guys how I put together a certain painting, like how I do a collage style and come up with the ideas to put something together. In doing that, it felt more personable. It felt like you guys were there in the room with me and I was just kind of showing you around and showing you all the different things that I was working on and my thought process on why I decided to go in a certain direction with a painting and so on. That invigorated me. Like that felt like the necessary spark that I needed to proceed. So I started sprinkling more of those kind of videos where I show you the process, but I don't do a step-by-step. I kind of walk you behind the scenes of how I'm putting something together, showing you the process, and then coming out on the other end of, hey, look, and this is where we're at. More so than not, I started realizing that maybe what I'm trying to do here on this channel is not showing you specifically how to paint a specific scene, because there's a million and one ways to do that, but to show you that art is possible, art is beautiful, and anyone can do it, but also we can communicate our message from one to another. Like we as humans can communicate with each other through our art and through our messaging in images. And so I think that's where I want to go with this channel, where I show you the day-to-day, I show you the behind-the-scenes vlogs, my art studio updates, my painting process, and just show you what it looks like from one human to another, the process of creating something beautiful and putting that out into the world. So whether you are a fellow artist or you are an art collector has discovered my channel, discovered my art, and wants to get to know me a little better about my process, about who I am as a person, this is the place to be. This is the channel that I'm looking for. So with that being said, a long story short, it's like really hard for me to say this because I know I would not be here without any of you guys. I really would not be flourishing on the YouTube channel without each and every one of your contributions and views. But yeah, I'm not doing acrylic painting tutorials anymore. I'm not doing step-by-step tutorials anymore. If there is a need, if there is something that I see that really requires me to go step-by-step with something, I'll consider it. But for the most part, I'm not going to be doing step-by-step tutorials on this channel anymore. And I know that's disappointing, and I totally understand if you want to unsubscribe, move on to somebody else that can fulfill your needs. I totally embrace that. Please do so. You will be greatly missed on my side, but I encourage you to do what's best for you. And I wanted to make a candid video and just talking to you about, where it is I'm at with this channel and where we're planning on going. And so that kind of leads me to the other part of this conversation, which is my brand name. For the longest time, I was known as The Buzzed Artist on YouTube and on my other social channels. And I liked that for a while, but over time I started realizing that the term buzzed artist was it had like a weird connotation associated with it. Like anytime anybody asked me like, oh, what's your brand, or like, what's your website name, and I say thebuzzedartist.com, they kind of just stop a little bit. They look at me kind of funny, like, so does that mean you paint while you're high, or like you paint while you're drunk? Like what is your deal? And it has nothing to do with that. Originally, why I decided to go with The Buzzed Artist was because I felt so buzzed on life. I just felt like I was constantly humming with excitement. The term buzz just kind of stuck in my head, and I went with that for a while, which was fine. And it's a catchy name and not something that a lot of people will forget. Over time, the name started to rub me the wrong way, and I think it started to show me that maybe there's something I can do that will better reflect who I am as a person. And what better way to do that than just naming the channel your own name, right? I am renaming this channel Amanda Rinaldi Art, and I'll be changing my YouTube handle as well to be Amanda Rinaldi Art. I'll be putting that name right over here so you can see it. But yeah, that's where we're at. I just wanted to be upfront and honest with you that despite the fact of my beginnings here, doing step-by-step tutorials together. That is not something I readily offer anymore on this channel. Of course, I still have acrylic painting tutorials on my Skillshare and on my Etsy. I still have those available. Be sure to take a look at those if you want to learn more about basics of acrylic painting and what what you can do with it. I think it's a wonderful medium to start with. And if ever you're interested in doing something beyond acrylic painting, this art class I've been taking for the past year now really opened my eyes to the possibilities that are out there, not just with acrylics, but with collage work and graphite and charcoal, spray paint, combining all that with oil paint. My world has opened up so much. I'm just compelled to explore it even further and see where I can go and where I can take my art. If you want to stick around and be a part of this journey with me, I'd be so appreciative of that. I want you to be here with me on this journey and just see the boundless creativity that humans have and the potential we all have as creative human beings. I hope you can stick around for that. With that being said, I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.